your kit looks like when you get it. So this is the 10-day kit. This is mine. I do it every year at least once. I recommend everyone does it every year at least once if it is the right thing for them in the end. But we'll kind of open it up. I'll show you what's in there and what you'll get as we go through this.
Awesome. All right, let me just make sure we're all in the right place here. Perfect. All right, so we're going to run you through probably the questions you have, which would be, what is a detox? Do I need to do a detox? Who is a detox right for? So let's start off first with, what is a toxin? So a toxin is a harmful substance that can come from a lot of different things that we're exposed to just in our daily lives. So if you think about everything from pesticides to heavy metals to even just foods that are not the greatest for us and heavily processed. So it's really the things we encounter in everyday life, given that we just live in more of an industrial world that will be around. The statistics with toxins are pretty crazy. Most people are exposed to 100 synthetic chemicals per day. So when you take into account that will, every day that you're living, you're exposed to 100 synthetic chemicals, we're pretty burdened with our toxin level.
Yeah. You want to throw more stats at them?
Sure. So looking at the food products in particular, we're eating, 14 pounds of food with additives in them. So there's 14 pounds of additives in food, proper way to say that. And then on top of that, there's 1 billion tons of pesticides used every year in food. So it's really so abundant in our world. Yeah. And then on top of that, there are 300,000 new chemicals listed every year that are, just added to what we're exposed to on the day to day. So the food component is a big part of it, but then you also have to think about your personal care products, shampoo, soap, all that good stuff. So it's really, you can't really walk around unless you're in a forest without.
Women especially, and that's why, a lot of people think even thyroid conditions and stuff, right? We always put perfume, we have makeup, and it's all going right around our thyroid. So I know a lot of people are probably going to join in or do this, might have, Hashimoto's or hypothyroidism. So that's a big one with skincare and makeup and perfume.
Yeah.
Essentially everything you put on your body. So that is great. So we want to talk to you a little bit about the phases of detoxification and why that's important, especially with this. So I know a lot of people, and I always talk about, I ask if they've done a cleanse, and they say yes, and it ends up being a juice cleanse or a fast or something. So the word gets a little it's a little inappropriately used and misconstrued in what people think it is. So a detox, a true medical detox, is one, reducing the garbage coming into your body. So the toxins coming in, and it's also at the same time pulling things out. So, escalating the amount of toxins that were stored in your body and making them no longer be in your body. So that is number two. What I just said is the missing component, right? So people do a fast or they do a juice cleanse. You're probably reducing the toxic load coming in, but you're not increasing the toxic load that is now coming out. So a detox has, we can all argue, but I'll just focus on 3 phases. So one, you got phase one. That is when you have to first make toxins that are stored primarily in our fat. So those of us who, especially I always think of women, have extra fat. You have to get the toxins out of the fat into the body. So you have to make them water soluble and get them out of there. So when they're now in this biotransformation phase and they're circulating in your bloodstream, they're actually more harmful potentially to you than when they were stored in your fat. Mm-hmm. So this is super relevant. I have a lot of people I know and patients that are losing a bunch of weight, and that's amazing, but they start to plateau. So if you're that person plateauing, this is what I'm gonna talk about next is your issue with why you're not continuing to lose weight with what you're doing. So phase 2 and 3 are really now, how do we make this thing I just got out of my fat that's in my bloodstream get peed out, pooped out, sweat out, cried out? How do we get that into this water-soluble issue that we can go to the bathroom and it's gone? It's literally red versus keeps going around in our bloodstream. So that's the problem, because what happens is if I have an issue with my phase 2 detoxification, I can get it out of the fat, but I can't get it out of the body. Metaphorically, think of it like this. It's really easy. So I continue to throw the garbage bag to the end of the driveway, right? Every day I'm throwing a garbage bag to the end of the driveway for the trash man to come get it, but the trash man is not coming enough. So things are starting to pile up and I'm not feeling great. So these people tend to get toxins adhering to things like their hormone receptors. So their thyroid, other things that are blocked. So their thyroid tends to not work as well. and it starts to slow down. So that slows your metabolism down, which stops you from losing weight. So anybody who's in that plateau of weight loss, this program's right for you. So we're going to talk about more who this is right for, but basically, right, 2 phases. Get it out of the fat, get it out of the body. That's what the difference is.
Yeah, exactly. So speaking of symptoms and reasons that a detox would be helpful for you, so here are kind of the top few. So if you're having difficulty concentrating or having mood swings, and it's something that's noticeable outside of the normal, that's a sign. Lack of energy is a big one, trouble sleeping, and fatigue and tiredness. If you are someone who lives in more of an urban city environment and you're exposed to a lot of pollutants, like just even exhaust and all that good stuff that you encounter in a city, that would be a great reason to do a detox. And then outside of that, if you have occasional digestive discomfort, that could be a reason to give yourself a little detox. And then another big one would be weight gain. So especially as we're kind of coming into the classic January New Year, if you're looking for a way to kind of kick off your new year, a detox is a good way to help you out there.
Yeah. So now we're going to kind of jump into why we like this detox specifically. So again, I'm going to show you guys. So this is the 10-day Metagenics Clear Change program. So this is the one we're offering 15% off on our website. So for those listening, we'll post this again, but it's andrewwong.metagenics.com. You can message us at work too if you're a patient of ours. But what we do is, let me just open this guy up, show you what comes in there. I'm sure that sound was pleasant. Okay, so this is like the most important thing, but this is going to be your medical food and protein powder that comes along with this. So there's clear instructions like how often to do this, and then you're going to have this, team approach of something called AvaClear. So every time you take this along with it. These are the things that are upregulating the phase 1 and phase 2 of detox. Those who do the 28-day program will get 3 containers and a bigger thing of AvaClear. I, of course, cannot get the program guide out at this moment. I'm going to let Jen try while I talk. But there's a program guide in there. It's so clear. I love this program because it literally tells you day to day what you can and cannot do, which is all anyone needs. So it's like having your own little nutritionist at home guiding you. And they also have links where you can sign up and they will send you daily tips. But this program, there's a 10-day program, which is great for certain people, and a 28-day program. So I like to think of my 10-day as people who are already really healthy eaters. They need a kickstart. They, maybe did a little too much damage over the holiday season. They just need to get back on track, cut their sugar cravings. It's pretty fast paced, so I actually sometimes think it can be harder. So it's going really quickly from you get to eat everything and do this to really focused into the programming and cut down. You do lose weight usually in the 10-day. I mean, obviously not as much as if you were doing it for a month. And usually you'll notice the things Jen was saying, you're going to sleep better, you're going to have increased energy, you're not going to be craving sugar, you're going to lose that bloat. So it's great for people who don't need a behavior change, and just want to kind of get back to where they used to be pretty easily in a followed program. Mm-hmm. The 28-day, which I like to think of it as low and slow a little bit more. You're kind of stagnant, you're going longer and not as aggressively and quickly. This is for people who, have literally never done a diet or a detox or an elimination diet. This is a little bit slower, more gentle in the body how it goes. It's not as quick to change day to day on what you can eat and what you can do. It's very good for behavior changes, right? I think it's 21 days to shift sugar cravings, really. So this is a 28-day program. It's going to help those who are struggling with more food addiction issues and, cravings. It's also going to have potentially more weight loss for people. I know I'm my first one, I lost 15 pounds when I ever did it, and I didn't really have that much to lose. And the other thing with this is it's a true elimination diet. So what that means, and it will guide you, is you need to keep foods out for an elimination diet for at least 23 days. This is 28 days, so it's perfect. They remove every food as your nutritionist I would remove and tell you to test as a food sensitivity. So you pull them out, and then you can be taught essentially how to reintroduce one food at a time and really see what are you sensitive to? What are the issues versus guessing? So it's an amazing program for that. So it's kind of it's like 3 birds, 1 stone. You're losing weight, you're feeling good, you're figuring out food sensitivities, and you're doing a medical detox. So that's really why I like the 28-day quite a lot. So those are the 2 in a nutshell, and we're happy to answer. You can also submit questions in the question box right underneath, and we can answer them in more in depth on these programs.
You can give us a comment if you'd like to. And so, yeah, I think detoxing is really a great option for really anybody. There are a few cases where it's not the perfect fit. So it is important to know that if you are someone who is pregnant or planning to get pregnant within the next
or breastfeeding,
breastfeeding, not the option for you at the time. And then with that, if you have cancer, not a great option for you. Uncontrolled diabetes, uncontrolled heart disease, kidney disease, SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, and then anemia. Those would be some reasons to not do this detox, but otherwise it's a great option.
And I know I'm going to get a lot of questions from the SIBO people just because, as we know, you're all my patients. This is not people who've like had SIBO. This is not people like recovered from it or in the next phase. This is like you're actively treating SIBO and diagnosed with it. That's when you can't do it because there's just certain ingredients and a lot of emphasis on foods that are really going to be bothersome for you. So it would be a great thing after we've finished, the treatment of the SIBO. It would be amazing for you. But right now, not the right thing. So if you've had SIBO, it's fine. Or if you're in the next phase of SIBO treatment and like that's fine. It's just the people actively being treated at the moment.
Right.
So I just want to clarify that. But that's great. So
yeah, let's talk about what to expect during a detox. So if you've never done a detox before, an important thing to remember is it's pretty common to feel worse before you feel better. And that's essentially because your body is getting rid of toxins, and that's not necessarily like the most pleasant thing. But the type of things you will expect are like skin breakouts, maybe you have some bloating that will subside once you're through that component. Things like headaches, food cravings, trouble sleeping, fatigue, irritability, those kind of things that are somewhat expected in the beginning and should pass.
Yeah.
So
I think I look at it as like a good thing. I'm like, I've been waiting forever for these. You want some of this. It means it's working. It means what you're doing is working. If it's not, you'll probably eat a pretty clean diet, or that person that's going out of their way for many years to like get clean products, get cleaning products for your household. So those people might just sleep better, sleep better, a little bit more energy. Skin might get a little clearer. So that's something to note as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you are especially a patient with CIH, you can have your practitioner give you the medical symptom questionnaire, which will help you to, from the beginning to the end, see the changes and be able to really quantify them, because sometimes it is hard to know what exactly is changing when you do something like this. So in this way, you can really look at the different systems in your body and figure out, like, is your cognition and brain fog better? Are your joint pain, those kind of things better? And you can really see the number change. So that's a great tool as well.
Yeah. What I was going to say, in this program, so we think of it, I know last year we used like the analogy of your liver. So, right, the whole point is clearing out the liver. But your liver is your overworked mother. So I always think of it like that, like it's a spring cleaning. Granted, it's not spring, but it's a spring cleaning that everyone needs at least once a year. So people always ask, like, why do I really need this? I eat clean. But if you've not actually done this, like, detox, it doesn't have to be this program. It's just the one that we happen to like the most. You need it. It's like an overworked mother that needs a little pampering, a day at the spa. You need to give that to her to actually work. So another person I think of, like we always talk about, is like the people who wake up from like 2 to 3 a.m. and it's when their liver is like extra doing their job. So when they're doing that and your body is extremely wants to detox over nighttime. So if you're someone that wakes up then, I think of you as someone that needs to do a detox, and you'll find you're going to sleep better.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like night and day. So I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Can I mention one thing? I also there's 3 flavors you're going to see when you go on the website. There's berry, chai, and vanilla. And you're also going to see there's 3 different like versions of the powder. You honestly can pick any one. The more advanced ones actually just help balance the pH level a little bit more, or more advanced protein. This is the Renew is like the one we're mostly talking about at the moment. It's the least expensive. That one, I highly recommend the chai flavor. I was just going to say that. Obviously, we said this is a medical food, so it's not like your most delicious protein powder. It's definitely palatable, though. I like the chai. I've done many of them. I've been doing this for like 8 years. I very much like the chai, though, so I was just going to throw that out there if anyone wants our recommendation. It's great. It's great with coconut milk.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Yeah, and I think in addition to the kind of sleep issue, another interesting symptom that may be a sign of a need for a detox are kind of unexplained skin symptoms. So if you haven't really been able to pinpoint where skin troubles are coming from, a detox is a good idea. Yeah.
I mean, your skin is your largest detox organ, so things are trying to come out of it all the time. Where it chooses to is like another issue, but people will find usually when they do this program and they can see the stuff happening, they tend to get a rash. Like, you can't really see me, but I'm touching my abdomen area, like around there, you'll start to get like almost like little pimple type things that may happen, and that's a good sign that it's working for you.
Yeah.
So that's something to note.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the skin will shift and it might be that it just clears up and looks amazing, you know? So.
And we do have down below in the description links to how to order if you're interested in ordering, and it'll walk you through exactly how to get the flavor and the length of time that you want, so the 10-day or the 28-day, and then lots of good information about what the detox is and all that.
Yeah.
You know, more good info for you.
Yeah, and discount is applied at checkout, so you don't need to do anything, you don't need to enter anything. Once you go to pay, it will already discount you. So note that. I know it's like at least $50 for the 28-day, which is a significant chunk of change. So do it. And if you're somebody who needs like more hand-holding, even though this, I swear this guides you through like very clearly, and you're a patient, you can just come see us. We can help you. We can be, you know, run the in-body, be accountable for you. And we can also give you that MSQ and kind of go with it beforehand, after. It takes about 5 days to get in the mail, like max. So you may want to order it within the next week or so if you're planning on doing it for the start of the new year. That's something to note.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to talk about the gut at all, or have you?
Yeah. My favorite topic, the gut. So there's a bunch of reasons it's really good for the gut. So one, you're removing all the inflammatory foods, right? So you're removing the inflammation that's being triggered by the standard American diet with this plan. So yes, you could do this without, right? You don't need a detox or program to do that. Secondly, though, it has things like L-glutamine and different healing factors in here. So when you take the shake, you're already going to get things that treat like leaky gut, permeability, inflammation, and kind of reduce that for you. So you're getting kind of a leaky gut treatment within detox, if you will. Lastly, this program usually recommends that you also take probiotics and fish oil. If you don't already take them through one of us or a practitioner, they do on the website, so you can actually order it when you go to order this. One's called Metagenics Mega 10. That's my favorite one on the Metagenics website. And they also recommend Ultraflora Balance. You can really use any of the Ultraflora probiotics on there, but the Balance is kind of the most gentle one. I would recommend that, or the Synergy, which also has prebiotics in it. But you're basically reducing inflammation, getting gut healing factors, and giving yourself some good healing like probiotics and prebiotics to feed those probiotics on this plan. So, and it's very high in fiber in the whole diet, the whole point of that. So everything is helpful in this plan.
Yeah. And throughout this experience, if you're looking for other ways to support detox, there are a lot of good options. So at home, if you've ever done dry brushing, that's a good way to kind of support the lymphatic system and keep the toxins going in the right direction out of your body. And then on top of that, if you have access to an infrared sauna, that's a great option. We do have an infrared sauna at CIH. So that is actually available to everyone, even if you're not a medical patient.
Yeah.
So if you're in the DC area, come check out our infrared sauna. Epsom salt baths are a really great option as well. That's something that's not only helpful for detox, but a really good like de-stressing self-care kind of thing.
And for people who don't like baths, can do like foot baths too, which is helpful. So you just put your feet in the Epsom salts. So I know like I'm not a huge bath person, but that's relaxing.
And then lymphatic drainage massage is another great one. Really also just staying active and making sure you're moving your body throughout the day is helpful too, because your lymph system is really important for getting toxins out of your body and moving around. And we can talk about tips as well for this. I know you have a lot of tips regarding this.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's nice and also like more powerful in a way to talk about like your own experiences. Not everyone's going to have the same experience, but I've been doing this for a lot of years and I put a lot of people on this program. I also, like I mentioned, do this, the Metagenics program myself at least once a year. So the first time I did it was probably the most powerful for me. I wasn't even a nutritionist. Yeah, I was nothing. And, like I said before, I lost like 15 pounds. It was great. My skin cleared up. I was sleeping much better. My pain levels got better. For that, I think it also curbed a lot of like cravings I was having and things like that. So it was really, really great. But I definitely had the most die off. So I definitely felt the worst, especially that first week. I was having more like changes I was not thrilled about and didn't know if it'd be like that the whole time, and it was not. Then I tended to do the 10-day more often. So I did the first one really to figure out the food sensitivity portion, which was really helpful. And I still primarily live my life the way that I figured out like 8 years ago from this program. So people like ask me, how do I figure out? Like, I'll be like, oh, I don't really eat soy much. It's from this guy. So I like that quite a lot. I find when I do the diet, it depends what your like Achilles heel is with some stuff, but like coffee is hard for me because coffee's off the diet. If you are someone who drinks a bunch of coffee, you want to slowly wean off. So like you're not undoing the magic of this if you drink the coffee, it's just extra work on your liver. So you want to kind of pull out slowly and reduce that, even start maybe a couple weeks ahead of time and like pull that out. But I found drinking bone broth, like I would make homemade bone broth like in a cup, or, you know, I liked it better than tea, honestly, but that helped with the behavioral aspect of coffee for me. So I know that's really hard for a lot of people I know. It's more for more people. Some people it's for energy, but some people it's truly just the behavioral need. So that's one tip, because that's what you're waking up with. Drinking a lot of water. I do think a lot of people, I know these sound so simple, drinking a lot of water and making sure you're eating enough vegetables, because when you pull out a bunch of foods, you can get constipated if you're not eating the foods they're actually recommending for you. And if you're not pooping, you're not detoxing. So that's important. Batch cooking is going to be your best friend. So batch cooking just means, obviously, cooking larger batches of foods that are approved, freezing them, keeping them in the refrigerator. So I remember I would make it depends on the week and like what you can consume, but I would always make like a chicken soup that didn't have any noodles or anything in there. Some days you can have rice, so you can put like a chicken rice soup. So I'd make a big thing of soup. I'd make a big thing of lentil soup. Sometimes chili when appropriate on the diet, like a turkey chili or a vegetarian chili. And then I would make like big bowls of like veggie quinoa dishes and things like that. And I would just have them so that when I was hungry and my body was coming off things and I didn't want to be miserable, I'd have like anything and it would just appease me until I got to where I actually got to cook like a delicious meal. So planning ahead, batch cooking, super helpful for everybody. And then there's like other recipes you can find and do, but I think if you have food in the house, you're not going to be unhappy at all. And it's not going to be hard. It's when you don't plan that it gets harder. So I do think that that's something people should know. Yeah,
absolutely. And there is a website called clearchangeprogram.com where it will kind of take you through the program and give you like a day-by-day kind of guide of like what to expect throughout the program.
I think they send you like what to expect that specific day. So you like log in the day you're going to start. And then they'll give you recipes as well. So they do provide recipes in there that match with things. But you can easily come up with your own stuff. And it's just finding what works for you, I think, honestly. So, you know, even like making little smoothie bowls out of like, you make like an actual smoothie and freeze them as a dessert was really helpful. But it's hard. I cried the first time I did it. Says a lot about me. I cried because it was hard because I was so attached to food. And I had never done anything like this. And like now it's not hard at all usually. But I like totally empathize with the people I put on it when they've never done something like this. It's like a safety net and like a part of your day and happiness that does change. So you just have to find other ways. And it's really easy if you get someone to like a lifesaver. So like those people who are kind of crashing at like 3 p.m. and they're starving and they can't wait till they get home. This was my favorite thing ever. It would just like completely knock out the hunger. So that they give you a shaker in there. It's great. So take the shaker with you to work in the car. You just need water. You can use any kind of like milk substitute that's appropriate on there. Coconut milk is really good for energy.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's think. I think this is the kind of thing where it can be a little intimidating to do, but then it is so well laid out. And I do think if you're looking for something, especially in the beginning of the year, to kind of get you going, this is like one of the few times that we do a discount on it through the year. So it's a really good opportunity to take advantage of.
Yep. Yeah. People who I know, some of my patients like to do this like regularly. They don't go bad. You can buy more than one, and there's no limit as to how many you want. If you want to buy one for your husband, you can. But I mean, I know it's intimidating, but it's the best way without having, if you don't have like a practitioner like us to kind of guide you through this. I mean, you can re-listen to this, but it is so well laid out. And I've tried other programs with companies. They're still great. Some of the products I really do like. I've never had success with anyone, including myself, than this one.
Right.
The other ones are like elimination diets, but they don't shift day to day, so people don't like lose as much weight. They don't feel as good. So this is a kind of a tried and true one for me, and it works every time.
Yeah.
So I support it. And we have no affiliation with them, so I'm just going to tell you that now is truly just one of those things I am passionate about. But we have no affiliation with this program. And if this isn't the right one and Detox speaks to you and you're our patient, come see us. There's other approaches. This just happens to be the one that we like to discount because we believe in it so much for the new year.
Yeah. And I think one other good point here is if you do take a look at the program online, it does get you to a point where you're taking out a lot of foods. And you can do this if you're vegan or vegetarian as well. They give you an option that way too. So it's really like for anybody, any eating type. Totally doable.
I do tell people, so if you do the 28-day, 10 day, anyone can get through 10 days. You can do it. Like I always say that with like the other programs who do that are like 5 to 10 days. And I'm like, anyone can do anything for that short period of time. You might not have the best time, but you're going to do it. A 28-day, if you are doing that, I like already lost my train of thought a little bit with this one.
It's hard to get through them.
Wow. Guys, it will come back to me.
End of the day.
End of the day here. It's late, guys. We're doing this so most of you can check in. It'll come back to me as Jen's talking.
Yeah. I think the chai I've heard good things about as well. The vanilla I have heard good things, and the berry. I haven't had the berry. I've heard good things about the berry. If you're a patient of mine, we've had conversations about it. We've heard good things about the berry. So really try a flavor, see what you like. Another good thing to bring up is if you do this and you like it, you can do this multiple times throughout the year. So we generally will say like once a quarter kind of a thing. So it's just really helpful, especially for behavior change. And like if you're just like I need something to help me start the new year off and get into a better place with my eating habits and how I'm feeling, this is just like a almost foolproof way to do it. Yeah, and you don't have to do the 28-day every quarter. You could do a 10-day. But if you've never done one, I highly recommend you start with a 28-day. There's not really a reason to not. January, you don't drink on this. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Sorry. It's hard to get through the 28-day program. This also has to do with drinking, meaning alcohol. But on the second week of the 28-day, it can get kind of like you were saying, it gets limited in what you're eating, but you're having a lot of these medical foods and you're still eating real food the whole time. But when you're doing that week, if you really, really are struggling, don't give up is what I was going to say. Add something like chicken in, because that is taken away at that point, or like turkey, even beef. I don't care. Those things are benign. They're not going to like ruin what you did this whole time. But I know people that have like been frustrated and hungry and gave up and had like gluten or something. Don't go that pathway. Just fill yourself with something delicious that you love. Get right back on track. It's still worth doing, even if you mess up that food. Okay? And even if you mess up that food and ate gluten, you can take that back out for like 23 days following. That's, have it be one of the last foods you reintroduce, which is always a good thing. And maybe we teach them how to reintroduce foods after. Yeah. That would be helpful. Sure. So if you've never done an elimination of any sort and done like a true reintroduction, this is really important because you will, if you do especially the 28-day program and you put in all this effort to do the whole program, cut the foods out, bringing the foods back in is just as important to do correctly. So I know it's very tempting to just go ahead and eat the pizza when you're done. But if you bring foods back one at a time and strategically track your symptoms, you will know then what food is affecting you. So like Katie said, she figured out soy is not her friend when she did this. So essentially, when you're finished with your the program and you've kind of gone through the whole elimination, you're ready to bring something back in, you're going to take one food item, so let's just use gluten as an example, and you're going to pick a day to introduce it. You want to pick a more pure form of gluten, so like something like bread rather than like pasta that would have who knows what else.
Mixed food.
Yeah, pizza, will also have dairy and all sorts of other things. So just go for like a very pure form of it. You're going to eat it 2 to 3 times in that day. And that doesn't mean you need to have like a loaf of bread in the day, but you're just having like a little bit of the bread throughout the day. And then you're basically going to track your symptoms. So you're looking for all of your body systems. So skin reactions, fatigue, brain fog, joint pain, digestive function, sleep. There's definitely more I'm just not thinking of. Pretty much anything that could possibly be
even
a
like
symptom.
Urine, like thinking of like bladder function. That's a big one for people in food, honestly.
That is a big one. Like anything that is kind of one of those things where you're like, I have trouble sleeping, or like I go to the bathroom frequently, I have constipation, all
Sinus
of those
congestion,
things.
migraines.
Yeah, that's a huge one. Headaches, joint pain. So you're looking for those symptoms, and then for the next few days, so like the next 2 to 3 days, you'll actually go back to eliminating. So take the gluten out again, so you can see if a delayed reaction will show up. So it can take up to 48 hours for that to show up. So you want to be able to eat the food and then wait the few days after to see, like, I had bread on Monday and on Wednesday I have a headache. And that will tell you that you have an issue with that food.
Yeah.
And then you basically repeat that for all the different foods. So like you would do, let's just say gluten first, and then you would move on to dairy, and you could kind of go down the line.
Yeah.
Go about it that way.
And I also recommend for people a lot, 2 things. Like, one, if you're going to introduce a food, obviously you want to do it in its purest form, but you also want to choose a food you enjoy, right? Like, all people are like, I don't drink milk, but that's what they chose to introduce. And I'm like, if you only eat yogurt, like, have that be the dairy you're reintroducing. Or if you only want half and half in your coffee, like, have that be the dairy you're reintroducing, because that's more important. Like, in my opinion, I'd rather know I can have the one thing I want in that category versus like, how do I do with that in its kind of broad spectrum entirety. So that's important for you to know. The other, actually, 2 things. One, the order of reintroduction doesn't really matter. So like, you can do one of 2 things. You can either choose to reintroduce the foods that you miss the most. So like, if you're an egg person, like every morning, that might be the first food you want in. But you also might want to think like flip spectrum. If you're an egg person and you crave eggs all the time, you might have an issue with eggs. So the longer the eggs are out, like if you choose to reintroduce it at the end, possibly the better. So the longer something's out, the more noticeable the reaction's going to be. So sometimes you might want to save those big guys for last on reintroduction, like the wheat, corn, soy, eggs, gluten. Those guys, either do them first or do them last, because they're the ones you enjoy as well.
Yeah, and I think with dairy also, you might have already said
that was going to be my third one. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
That was my third thing.
You can break dairy up into the different categories. So there is a difference between like butter all the way up to like milk. So you can use cheese as its own category, yogurt as its own category, butter, milk. Because for some people, like, butter will be okay, but once you're having milk, you have an issue.
Yeah.
And that will at least give you an understanding of where the line is that you have an issue with.
Yeah. And I sometimes, like, the way I'll do it, you can do it is like many introductions as you want, but I'll usually do like butter and ghee as a reintroduction, just because I'd rather live a life of butter than like nothing. Sometimes I'll tend to tell people to do like sheep and goat's milk or cheese by itself, because people tend to tolerate those better. And I'd personally be like, oh, I like that I can have feta versus nothing. Some people do poorly with the dairy because of the whey. Some people do it because of the casein in it, and some people the lactose. So you might have like a feeling or heard one of us tell you, but something like having harder cheeses might go easier as one reintroduction to see, is it maybe just the lactose that's the problem, you know what I mean, versus a soft cheese. So a lot of people will be like, oh, I have issues with soft cheese. It's just a different part of the dairy you're responding to. So it's kind of also good to a degree to figure that out, because there are potentially some options you can occasionally have in your life.
Yeah. And I do think, so beyond the food sensitivity component, if sugar cravings are an issue for you, this is also a really great program and a good option.
Yeah.
We are in the holiday season, and of course with that will come a lot of desserts and things like that. So looking towards January, the reason that we're doing this now is so you can have a plan going into the new year.
Find your buddies to do it.
Yep. Get your little team detox going.
Team detox.
And especially with the sugar, like if you really are craving sugar throughout the day, this is a good way to kind of clear that craving and that cycle from your body.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely buy it now. Definitely buy it to get ready for the new year. But once again, like we said, this is so great for the people, kind of for everyone who just joined in. Weight loss, energy production. Obviously the detox is important and doing those things, but like skin clearing. So I know everyone like wants to be prepped for what they're going to do come January 2nd, right? That's kind of why we want to do this now. And a lot of people do very similar programs. I'm sure you can think of a few. I won't call them out, but do very similar programs. And one, they don't do the reintroduction like Jen said, which is the whole point of the program. Or two, they're not a detox, like a true detox. So that's the missing link, is like they might be making you eat healthier and cleaner, but they're not taking the toxins and the garbage that you've built up over the last year and or 50 years and getting it out of your body. So that's why we like this product.
Yeah, definitely. And if you have not heard, we are offering a discount right now. So there's a 15% discount, which is a pretty substantial amount. So a good time to take advantage of it. And the instructions for ordering are down below. But if you're ready to do it right now, you'll essentially go to andrewwong.metagenics.com. And then depending on whether you want the 10-day or 28-day, you're searching for the Clear Change program. It should pop up in the little search bar. But essentially you're looking for the Clear Change program. That is what this is. And whether you're getting the 10-day or the 28-day, they give you the protein shake, which is really like this medical detox food. The Advoclear, similar to a multivitamin, but much more enhanced. And then you also get the shaker bottle and then this whole guide.
Yeah, I mean, if you can, it might not be the best lighting, but you can see, it will tell you literally day by day. It's a little blurry, I'm sure. It tells you exactly how much of the shake you're having each day, how much of the pill, and then it tells you exactly what foods. And then in the back, there's like a shopping guide. It tells you what days are appropriate for what's a core of food that you know you should be having more of and can have every day.
Recipes.
Sample menus, tips, like... Yeah, this is pretty helpful. Once you get going, you don't like need this, but day 5 through 7, just do it. Congratulations. So they encourage you. It's great. It's like having a little nutritionist at home, accountability. Definitely like weigh yourself or get some stats on what you are prior and then what you are after, especially for those trying to get like that spring cleaning of weight loss down.
Yeah.
Get that holiday bloat off, you know?
Yeah. And if you're a CIH patient, you can come find us and make an appointment because we have our InBody, which is really great to see the changes in much more detail in regards to weight. Because I know pretty much every day I will see patients who the number on the scale will look the same, but their composition is changing. So the muscle is gaining or staying the same, and body fat is going down, which you really can only tell with that kind of a scale. So
I had a patient today too, and I was just like, the first thing I saw was the weight, and it went up. I was like, oh man, they're gonna be. And then I looked, and they like lost all this belly fat, and they lost fat percentage, gained muscle, and I was like, and lost like water retention, holding on to fluids. I was like, this is awesome. This is why you don't just step on a scale. You want to do something like an InBody. It's awesome.
Yeah. So come in and see us if you'd like to do that. But that is a lot of the information that we wanted to share with you. If you have a question or a comment, you can definitely add that in. And we will be
Feel free
reposting this to make sure it's edited correctly.
But once again, for those just checking in now, gonna show you it again, gonna tell you my favorite. I am very biased towards the chai flavor. I've been telling everybody this. Jen here's the berry is very good. I know a lot of people think the vanilla is like easier to like mask in smoothies, but I personally don't make smoothies with it. I just drink it with like a coconut milk or water. Shake it up, go on my way, have some whole foods after, like an apple, you know, a pear. Those are some of the core things. So we can look. You got questions, comments, concerns? Oh, we just got a lot of shares going on.
If you think of a question, feel free to comment at any time. Has anyone ever done a detox that is watching? That would be interesting to know. There are a lot of different versions of detoxes, which, like Katie said, this is just the one that we have personally used and like the most, and have just, you know, gotten our vote here.
Yes, people love it. But you can definitely be open to other ones, and you can definitely just do some enhancement through food if you're somebody who eats really well and doesn't feel like this is totally the right fit. And we can see you and help you with that. But there are definitely foods like that will upregulate naturally the detox. system, which is kind of what the purpose of this is coming through like natural things in the back here that are emphasizing things like broccoli and different things that you might not be able to megadose in your day without getting ill feeling. Yeah. So I think that's great. So once again, if you are pregnant, breastfeeding, trying to get pregnant in the next couple months here, actively being treated for cancer or really uncontrolled diabetes, heart disease, maybe if you're a small child or if you're actively being treated for SIBO with me, that's when it's not appropriate. But anytime after the SIBO treatment or when you have your diabetes under control or anything like that, this is totally appropriate and probably very beneficial to you.
Yeah. Something everyone should do at least once a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great option. So a lot of good information out of us tonight. Yeah. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to add a comment. We will keep this video up and repost it in the next few days. So this is accessible to you at any time. Feel free to share with anyone if you think this would be a good option for them. Good Christmas gift if you need a little Christmas gift.
Stocking
Hanukkah
stuffer.
gift.
Yeah, and just remember andrewwong.metagenics.com. It will apply the 15% discount when you go to purchase it. So you won't see it. It won't be like advertised, I don't believe. But right when you go, it will take it off immediately. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Okay?
We really appreciate you joining us. And we'll hopefully see you all soon, whether in the office or online.
And remember, we do it every year. Get excited. Have a good New Year.